The world of work is changing. AI, automation, and technology are reshaping how we find jobs, build careers, and connect. But behind every resume and career transition is a human story, and the mental and emotional impact is real. This is Ghosted by the Machine.
Welcome, I'm your host, Mark Lane, and today we're talking about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention, the mental and emotional toll of the modern job search. Todd Bertsch is a keynote speaker, PQ mindset coach, entrepreneur, and host of the Bolt podcast. His work focuses on helping people navigate change, reframe setbacks, and keep moving forward without losing themselves along the way. Todd, welcome to Ghosted by the Machine.
Hey, Mark. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you very much. We spoke earlier. You're from Akron, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
And
born and bred.
Well, here in Detroit, we don't look at Ohio the same way you look at us, I guess they say, right?
Yeah, it's pretty similar in my opinion. So, yeah, I love them. So,
Yeah,
hey.
That's cool. That's good to hear. What about Bob Seger? Got to get Bob Seger in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, before we get into today's topic, tell us a little about yourself, what led you down this path, and what made you want to dedicate your work to helping people build resilience and develop a stronger mindset.
Yeah, I think it comes back to my own story. And I think that's how we typically go, right? Our journeys aren't straightforward as much as we would like them to be, especially as we're coming into our careers, right? I think that's the biggest misnomer as a young professional. It's going to zig and zag, and you got to roll with it. And that's where you start to build that resiliency. But during COVID, which, was a very difficult time for many of us, it was a time for reflection. And I had a coach reach out to me on LinkedIn. She had saw some of my content. I didn't know her from Adam. She reached out and said, hey, want to have a chat? So I said, sure. And she introduced me to this program called Positive Intelligence. The book's right behind me here. And it's a mental fitness program. And I said, I had just started down a journey of holistic change personally. And I said, well, what do I have to lose? There's nothing else to do during COVID. Why not?
Right.
And so I gave it a shot. It's an 8-week program. She took me and a few other people through a cohort, assembled cohort. And I'll tell you, Mark, it changed my life. So to give you a little backstory, prior to that program, I had little to no patience my entire life, and I had a temper. I mean, I threw fits like a baby. And that you can imagine having those characteristics as a leader, as a business owner, as a father, as a friend, as anything really. And it kept me from becoming the best version of myself. It kept me from being the best leader that I could have been, should have been, wanted to be. And then this program changed my life. It transformed how I live, lead, and run my business. And essentially what it did was it built an internal pause button for me. It gave me control back in my life so that I could pause instead of being reactionary, which is what most people do because we have those thoughts in our head. We're reactionary and that gets us in trouble, right? We're not being curious. We're being judgmental. So this allows me just to take the information in. I may respond, I may not, but I'm just going to be at peace and calm. I'll either accept it for what it is, or I'll convert it into a gift and opportunity. And that's what we call the SAGE perspective, which is a core principle in positive intelligence. Finding the gift and opportunity in every scenario. I don't care how difficult that scenario is. If you're open and curious enough, you'll find it. It may not be there today or tomorrow, but there's a gift there. And when you live with that lens, Mark, it changes everything, right? You can see everything as an opportunity. You're coming in a positive manner, full of gratitude and full of growth and learning, as opposed to being derailed by stress, negativity, and self-doubt. That's how I got into it. It kind of fell into my hands. And Mark, I pray every day that came into my life because it changed my life. So I saw the impact it had on me. I took my leadership team through it. I own a marketing business as well. I took my leadership team through it. Now we have this shared language. I saw how it changed their life and how dramatically it changed our business. And now I'm a coach. So I transitioned out of running my business. I still own it. And now I'm a leadership coach and a keynote speaker.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm all about positive energy, putting it out there in the universe. And, I always say God's got a plan. God had a plan for me, and God's got a plan for everyone.
Absolutely. Yep.
And, we all know that job searching comes with a lot of rejection, silence, and self-doubt. I went through that. I experienced while I was looking for work. And since starting the show, I've heard similar stories from so many other job seekers. Someone reaches out, looking and sounding like a real recruiter. They ask all the right questions about experience, your search, the kind of role you want, what type of environment do you want to work in. And then they say, hey, send over your resume and start. And and then we're going to look it over and we'll get back with you. And then finally they come back and say, well, thanks again for sending it over, but you need to update your resume. Here's a link, go there. It's going to cost you a few bucks and it's not free, but if you go there, and I can guarantee you're going to get a job.
Yeah.
What kind of experience like that do to someone mentally and emotionally, especially when they're feeling vulnerable?
It crushes you. Let me take a step back here and educate just a little bit. For those that don't know, we're not built. Our brains aren't built to survive. That's a fact. We are built to, or not to, they're not built to thrive. They're built to survive, right? So what served our ancestors was great, right? Saber-toothed tiger, bear, run. But change or anything else we see as danger, right? So that we're just not built for it, but we need to understand that's how we're built. And we are negative bias people. Thousands and thousands of thoughts we have every single day are negative. That's just who we are. And this is how powerful negativity is. There's been studies in psychology that say it takes 3 positives to overcome 1 negative. That's how powerful negativity is. And that negativity is inside us. So we all have, in the positive intelligence framework, we call them saboteurs. There's 10 of these guys. 1, the leader, is the judge. He or she is that person that is in your head all day long, telling you, Mark, you're not good enough. You'll never find a job. You're going to be out of work for 2 years. You're going to lose your family, lose your house, right? In your ear all day long. That's our internal thoughts. But in this program, what we do is we're like, okay, let's identify, catch these negative thoughts, and then shift them over to more of a sage mindset. And in a sage mindset, that side of our brain, we can lead with empathy, curiosity, creativity, innovation, peace, calm, gratitude. So it's a different way of living. So it's not that we're trying to get rid of those negative emotions, right? We're all going to have it. We're all going to have some sort of stress, but how do you handle that? Do you allow it to derail you all day long? Because that's what's going to happen when you're in your head all day long. You can't get anything done. You're just spiraling because those thoughts in your head are so powerful that you just can't move on. You're paralyzed. Why should I even, fill out this resume? Why should I apply? They'll never get back to me. They're going to ghost me, right? And that might be true, but you can't get stuck. And I go back to, and I don't know if you're a Rocky fan, Mark, but
yes, very much so.
It's not about how hard you get hit, right? It's about how hard you can keep moving forward, right? So we just need to we take it on the chin, we get back up and we keep going. And if you start to build that resiliency, when you start to build your mindset in a more positive manner, then you can start leading a little bit better and you can start growing. You can start trying different things as opposed to being paralyzed and stuck in the position you're in. Because eventually what could happen is you settle into a comfort zone and then your spark dims. And you're not broken. It's not your fault. There are several thousands of people experiencing this exact same thing, but you can't let it get you down. And I know that's easier said than done. I have not been in that position before, but I know close friends that have. In fact, one of my employees, her husband was out of work for 1.5 years. And we knew this. So we kept a close eye on her because not only does it affect you, but it affects your whole family. And then your family, they have a job and they're taking that. So it's a trickle effect. It's a bleed. So we have to be really careful. And as leaders, especially in HR, you need to understand, you need to know your people. That's an important piece of information to know that one of your employees' spouse is struggling, because that's going to come down on her and or that person, and that's going to bleed into the work. So I went down a rabbit hole a little bit there, but that's what happens. We're negative bias people. That's a fact, but we can rewire our brain.
Right.
And it just takes intentionality. It takes intentionality.
How do we separate our experience or the experience that we're going through from your value, from who I am? I mean, to get a recruiter, fake recruiter, to lead you down that path. And then you've got to come back and say, wait a minute, and this is wrong. And this is my value. This is what I bring. I don't have to deal. I shouldn't have to deal with this. But how do I get over that? I mean, the mental side of a job search is just, it's mind numbing. It's body numbing. It's soul numbing.
Right. That's a great question, Mark. There are many different things. 2 things that I would recommend. I talk a lot about my keynotes, and everything that I do is wrapped around a concept. And this is a little different than mental fitness, but it's igniting your spark. And what happens when you go on this journey of being out of work, your spark starts to dim. Natural, totally natural. But here's the thing, you're not broken. And that spark we all have a spark, right? We were born with a spark. It's always there. We just need to reignite it. And we can do that by remembering who we've always been, never forgetting that. And we can do that through reflection, going back to childhood, going back to college, getting with a mentor. We need to be reminded of the things that light us up. So when you're experiencing all this negativity, we need to bring something into our life that really ignites us, that really lights us up. And I mean, children aside, right? Our children, our family, friends, yes, let's just default, they light us up. But I'm talking something for you. You're the one really going through this journey, and it's hard as hell. So how do we break through that? We need to continually find something that we love. So the one thing you have time. So when we talk about find the gift and opportunity, you got time. What are you going to do with that? You got to stay, and I'm not going to say the B word, busy. You got to stay active, doing something you love, right? Otherwise, you're just going to go down and be derailed for days. And again, be paralyzed and not be able to make any steps. That might be getting back on the bike. Maybe you love mountain biking. Maybe you've always wanted to write a book. Maybe you want to pick up the guitar that's been sitting in the corner for years. Whatever that is, just remember and it might be a song that helps you remember who you've always been, a moment in time when you were extremely happy. Like, what lights you up? What brings that curiosity back? What gets you up in the morning? You got to have that. And it might be, you know what? I'm just going to turn this in. I'm going to meet somebody new every single day on LinkedIn. And I'm going to try to get a call with them. There's some crappy people out there, but there are a lot of wonderful people as well that are more than willing to help you. You got to be willing just to keep fighting. And I know that sounds so cliche, but if you don't, then you're just going to spiral, and that spark's going to dim. And man, once that spark snuffs out, like Jeff in Survivor, takes and your torch is out, that's it. Once our fire's gone, man, that's it. So we gotta do that for ourselves, but also our families. That is our responsibility to keep that lit.
It's interesting because I didn't think of it that way as I was going through my journey. I'd write blogs on LinkedIn, and I had someone reach out to me out of the blue, didn't know me, just said, "Hey man, I just wanted to say hi and let you know that what you're writing is making a difference in my life. I'm going through the same journey that you are." And it was like, wow, this is amazing. It just made me feel there's that spark, as you say, it clicked in. And that's really what got me into developing the podcast. I'm a musician. I've been playing for many, many years. I'm a saxophone player and singer. And
I love it.
That got me through the hard times, looking forward to my gigs and playing
Right.
and playing a song that made me feel good about who I was or who I am. So
Right.
I think that's really important. And you bring something that is, I think that a lot of job seekers don't think about as they're going through it. It's woe me. I see a lot of that on LinkedIn. It's woe me, find me a
Oh, yeah.
job,
Yeah.
woe me. And it's like, God, you can't be that way. You've got to have you got to be positive. You get your family, you got to bring your family into the fold. You got to surround yourself with positive people. And to me, that's the most important thing. It's going to help you get through that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's the thing about change, Mark. Nobody likes change, and this is a huge change, right? It's a huge change. And we start to feel uncertainty. And when we feel uncertainty as human beings, we go into survival mode, right? Our brain just shifts there. And then we start to shut down. And that's when we see the smoke signals. Curiosity shuts down, ownership fades. We start to get full of fear and self-doubt, all the smoke that keeps us from being who we really are. We don't want that. So we have to just keep moving forward. But it goes back to one question. Whenever I start a coaching cohort, I ask this one question: what is most important to you? Every single person who has children, a family, says, my kids, my family, that is most important to me. And I say, great. No doubt, it is to me too. So if that is the most important thing to you, then it is your responsibility to stay lit up during this process. That's it, right? So you're doing it for them. That's what's in it for you. What's in it for me to keep this moving, to keep going, keep fighting? It's your family, because it's bleeding, man. You're seeing it. You're probably not as present with your kids or happy with your kids or with your spouse. I'm sure it's difficult times because we're talking about finances and money. I can only imagine, right? It has a tremendous trickle down into your emotional, mental, physical health. So you need to, again, stay occupied. I'm not going to say busy, but stay occupied. Growth, learning. Again, you have all this time. I go back to COVID. What'd you do during COVID? It's very similar. We had this thing that was out of our control. Now we have all this time. What are you going to do? You can sit there by the fire with a bottle of bourbon every day. And where are you going to go? I know that's where I started. And then I said, this isn't doing anything. So then I went on this path of just learning and growing, and that was an addiction. I'm like, okay, this is feeding me. So use this now. Here's the opportunity. Go learn AI, learn Claude, ChatGPT, learn a new skill, read, take some master classes, go to the library. Like, we have so many resources now than there were 30 years ago for people that were out of work. You can stay occupied and you can continue to grow on a little to no budget. So I don't think there's any excuses for that, but it is difficult. And I'll say this one other thing, Mark, is you're on an island, and that can be lonely, like Tom Hanks and Wilson. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's lonely, man. Find somebody, find your tribe, and stay connected. Those people, like you said, that circle of influence, those people who are surrounding you, somebody that's positive, that's not just going to blow smoke and pump you up, challenge you too. Keep that fire lit. You need those people in your life. They're there. Find them, bring them in, because you need them now more than ever.
So I liken a journey like this, or a job journey, almost like a death. There's that grieving process that I had to go through to get myself on the other end, like you said, and grabbing that spark and moving forward and taking the learning and doing all of that. But yeah, I had to stop, and I lost my job, and oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh, this is horrible. This is the worst thing that ever going to happen to me. Oh, I'm going through all these ghosting issues and bots and scams and you name it. But I look at it now, it's almost like a passing of someone dying. And now I've kind of flipped that script to where I'm excited about getting up in the morning. I've got my plan. I've got my direction. I've got that spark. I love that term. I'm going to write that down on a notepad, put it on my computer today. But I think it's really important. And I've recovered from being misled doing this whole process too, because there's some really bad actors out there that want to take you down that path. So,
Yeah.
but do you see that at all? That it's almost like a grieving process going through this for some people?
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of life is, honestly. Anytime there is I would call this a traumatic event. So in my keynote, I talk about igniting the spark. One of the main ways to reignite your spark is an interruption. And there are two types of interruptions. One that life chooses for us, which is a loss of a family member, cancer, divorce, or loss of a job. We didn't choose that. It was chosen for us. Or the interruptions that we choose, the reflection, right? Really discovering who we've always been. So you can reignite in many ways. And yes, it is kind of like grieving. This is a traumatic event. It's huge. Absolutely. And it's okay. Go in a corner, get some Kleenex, pound it out. That's okay. You're not broken. You're beautiful, amazing. You have talents. You've been working in the workforce. Don't forget that. But everything that we're telling ourselves is worse than the circumstance itself. We are our worst critic, and that's all positive intelligence. That's the saboteurs. Don't let them win. Don't let them win. Take some time, meditate, do some mindfulness practices, really reset. Don't let that fear catch it and say, yep, that's my judge. See you, buddy. I don't need you. I know you're lying to me because I am beautiful. I am strong. I'm talented. I'm intelligent, and I can do this. Who's going to win? You just got to keep fighting. I keep going back to Rocky and keep that spark lit. Find that one thing. And it doesn't have to be work related. This is the time. You have the time. Really reinvent yourself. And I'd say two things, Mark. One, shame on those employers. I know they're out there. Ghosted by the Machine. I love the name of your podcast. And it's unfortunate that we need to have a podcast titled that, honestly. They're people. We're talking about human beings. Right? So if we go focus on HR, just leadership in general, the people that are responsible for the recruiting, there is a responsibility and a privilege to treat people like human beings. And I understand you're dealing with thousands of applicants, but there is a way to keep that human, especially if you have one conversation with somebody. There's commitment both ways. This is your brand. Whether you hire them or not, they're going to go out there and they're going to talk about your company and maybe not in the best light. So every touch, every communication is you and your company's brand. And what signal are you sending? This is an opportunity. They might not be your right hire right now. Maybe they will be in the future, or they might know somebody down the road. It's a small world, believe it or not. Keep that bridge open and treat people with dignity and respect. It takes time, but that extra time goes a long way, and it could help somebody from dimming their spark, right?
Right. Well, it is, being ghosted, there's so many elements of that I looked at in developing this is that, you apply for a job and you don't hear back from someone for months thanking you for your application, or doing an interview, doing 3 or 4 interviews and not hearing anything for a couple months. My daughter came to me. She graduated college last year. A year later, she gets a letter. She already got a job, but a year later, she gets a letter from someone that she applied to, and they said, "Thank you for applying, but at this time we found someone to take that position." It's like a year later. A year later, you're sending an email. It's ridiculous. And then, Canada, the beginning of 2026, wrote into law a ghosting policy to companies that if you don't get back to an applicant in a certain amount of time, you can actually be brought up and be charged and be fined. I mean, I'm sure Glassdoor is having a field day with a lot of these companies.
Gosh,
and
Glassdoor.
I met someone last week, a company called ghosted.work that is out there, has an anonymous website that you can go to. It's been inundated with companies that are going, or not companies, but job seekers that are going there saying, look, hey, this is what's going on. Boom, boom. These companies are taking major hits on what they're doing. It's just horrible. It really is.
It is.
And I know, we all know that leadership said, "Hey, let's bring in AI. Let's see how we can and bring this into our company. It's the next best thing, and it's going to take us to this level." Well, then you've got job seekers, 500-600 people applying for one position. And then it goes through the cheese grater or the ATS system, and they'll take the top 10. What happens to that other 500-600?
Right.
They've got to be notified, right? They got to be told. But what's the feedback? We used to get feedback. I remember when my first job, I brought a resume into somebody. Hey, here's my resume, and hey, this looks really good. Let's have an interview. It doesn't happen like that anymore. There's no that face to face.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot there, Mark.
A lot to unpack.
It really is. It's a very difficult situation all the way around. I think, one, we just need to remember we're dealing with human beings and have that respect and dignity and take the time. AI is great. I use it every day. I absolutely love it. It also scares the hell out of me.
Right.
But what I've realized recently is that we can really leverage AI. And here's how I think we can leverage it. We can leverage AI to give us time back so that we can use that time to really have those human interactions. Right?
Right.
Because I think what's happening is all these things, right? And we talk about interviewing or even caring for your people, having one-to-ones every week, right? All these things are intentional and they take time. So we need to have that time. AI theoretically is doing all the mundane tasks, crunching all the data, creating reports, all these things that take us hours in spreadsheets, so we can have some of that time back to really devote, to people.
Yeah.
So I think there's ways that we can leverage it. I will say, like, there's good people out there, and maybe they don't get through AI. I have a great story. There's two women that I hired in my marketing organization. This was about 5 years ago. They both had huge gaps, 2 to 3 year gaps on their resume and LinkedIn. And the old me would have just said, scrap them, put them in the trash. But for some reason at that time, I stayed curious. And I dug in a little bit further. I'm like, why would you have such a long gap? So I had some conversations with them. Lo and behold, that gap, they were raising their kids. They took time off. They committed to raising their kids. And I tell you what, Mark, those two women are two of my best employees. To me, that was a job. That should be on your resume.
Sure.
Raising a family, committing and saying, no, I'm not going to work. These are the formidable years. These are some of the best years. I am going to commit to doing this. That says a lot about the character of somebody. And they have now been in my company 5-7 years. Amazing employees. But normally they wouldn't have made it through the ATS, right? That's a gap. And it's not on LinkedIn. It's not even on a resume. People are afraid to mention that. I say, put that out there. I love that.
Yeah.
Like that tells me something about the character that you have. And now you're ready. You had your kids. You've got them to a position where they can go into school. You're ready to come back to the workforce and get at it. So I know it's just a little story that I use that I like to share, but just don't let those diamonds slip through the ATS or AI,
That's really good. I love that story. So what are some practical things that job seekers can do to keep up their confidence and that mental well-being while they're still in the search?
Yeah, 2 things. 1, get your tribe. Get your people together. Have some sort of weekly or bi-weekly call or meeting with your people, right? Those are the people that are going to pump you up, challenge you, celebrate you. What are some of the great things that you're doing, right? Don't worry about all the negative, the bad things that your brain is telling you, the judge is telling you. I know there's something good there. Celebrate that. We don't celebrate enough. And then find something that lights you up. Find that thing that lights you up. It may have nothing to do with your career, your profession. Get that guitar. Join the band, start writing the book, read the book, take a class, whatever, start photography, whatever that is, Find that thing that lights you up, that keeps you going. The growth is going to be what gets you through this. And then trying that reframe, the mind shift from I have to go apply for another job to I get to, right? Finding that gift and opportunity. It's all in our mindset. Our mindset controls everything that we do. If we can simply reframe our mind, right, from I have to, an obligation statement, to I get to, you get to, you're still alive. The gratitude piece, you're still here. You still have the opportunity to go find that next job. And that next job is going to be probably the best job that you've ever had, that you might be for the next 10, 15 years of your life. And this might be an opportunity to reinvent yourself. Again, you have time. Imagine when you were working, no time, running around like crazy. Embrace the time and really think how you can leverage that time.
I think that's a great way to look at it. The only thing that I always looked at through the journey was I wish I knew when this was going to end. You know, you just got, I wish I could say, God, it's going to happen before Christmas. It's going to happen before my wedding anniversary. It's going to happen before my daughter's birthday. It's going to happen before this. Those, those milestone moments in our lives, you look at that and it's like, is there a way of getting a job before that moment?
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's gonna hurt thinking that way, right? I think one thing that my coach always taught me was embrace the journey. Don't worry about the end game. Embrace the journey. So I think we just need to remember we're dealing with human beings and have that respect and dignity, and take the time. AI is great. I use it every day. I absolutely love it. It also scares the hell out of me.
Right.
But what I've realized recently is that we can really leverage AI. And here's how I think we can leverage it. We can leverage AI to give us time back so that we can use that time to really have those human interactions. Right?
Right.
Because I think what's happening is all these things, right? And we talk about interviewing, or even caring for your people, having one-to-ones every week, right? All these things are intentional and they take time. So we need to have that time. AI theoretically is doing all the mundane tasks, crunching all the data, creating reports, all these things that take us hours and spreadsheets, so we can have some of that time back to really devote, to people.
Yeah.
So I think there's ways that we can leverage it. And I will say, like, there's good people out there, and maybe they don't get through AI. I have a great story. There's two women that I hired in my marketing organization. This was about 5 years ago. They both had huge gaps, 2 to 3 year gaps on their resume and LinkedIn. And the old me would have just said, scrap them, put them in the trash. But for some reason at that time, I stayed curious and I dug in a little bit further. I'm like, why would you have such a long gap? So I had some conversations with them. Lo and behold, that gap, they were raising their kids. They took time off. They committed to raising their kids. And I tell you what, Mark, those two women are two of my best employees. To me, that was a job. That should be on your resume.
Sure.
Raising a family, committing and saying, no, I'm not going to work. These are the formative years. These are some of the best years. I am going to commit to doing this. That says a lot about the character of somebody. And they have now been in my company 5-7 years. Amazing employees. But normally they wouldn't have made it through the ATS, right? That's a gap. And it's not on LinkedIn. It's not even on the resume. People are afraid to mention that. I say, put that out there. I love that.
Yeah.
Like that tells me something about the character that you have. And now you're ready. You had your kids. You've got them to a position where they can go into school. You're ready to come back to the workforce and get at it. So I know it's just a little story that I use that I like to share, but just don't let those diamonds slip through the ATS or AI,
That's really good. I love that story. So what are some practical things that job seekers can do to keep up their confidence and that mental well-being while they're still in the search?
Yeah, two things. One, get your tribe, get your people together, have some sort of weekly or bi-weekly call or meeting with your people, right? Those are the people that are going to pump you up, challenge you, celebrate you. What are some of the great things that you're doing, right? Don't worry about all the negative, the bad things that your brain is telling you, the judge is telling you. I know there's something good there. Celebrate that. We don't celebrate enough. And then find something that lights you up. Find that thing that lights you up. It may have nothing to do with your career, your profession. Get that guitar, join the band, start writing the book, read the book, take a class, whatever, start photography, whatever that is, find that thing that lights you up, that keeps you going. The growth is going to be what gets you through this. And then trying that reframe, the mind shift from I have to go apply for another job to I get to. Right? Finding that gift and opportunity. It's all in our mindset. Our mindset controls everything that we do. If we can simply reframe our mind, right? From I have to, an obligation statement, to I get to. You get to. You're still alive. The gratitude piece. You're still here. You still have the opportunity to go find that next job. And that next job is going to be probably the best job that you've ever had, that you might be for the next 10, 15 years of your life. And this might be an opportunity to reinvent yourself. Again, you have time. Imagine when you were working, no time, running around like crazy. Embrace the time and really think how you can leverage that time. So if you're embracing and celebrating those small wins, those small moments, then you're not so focused on the timeline, the end game, right? And I also think whether you're faith-based or not, you got to have faith here.
Yes.
Right. You got to believe in something. This happened for a reason, and you're going to be a better person. So what you're doing right now is you're building resiliency. Anytime you go through any failure or any traumatic event like this, you have an opportunity to build that resiliency. You're going to come out stronger. If we don't experience anything like this, then we're just going through life thinking everything is puppies and rainbows. And God forbid something happens, we don't know what to do.
Right.
So this is again, going back to opportunity. And I know, easier said than done. I'm here, I have a job, so easy for me to say that I'm not in that position right now. And I know it's extremely difficult. You're not alone. Get your tribe together and find that thing that lights you up,
Right.
that gets you up. You got to get up in the morning and you got to do something. Plant that garden, go start playing pickleball. Find something that, something new, again, new and challenging. You're going to build that resiliency because you're likely not going to do it perfect. You're going to fail a little bit. So you're continuing to build that mental muscle. So when you get that next job, you're going to be an animal. Yeah. So it's not easy, man. We're not going to sugarcoat it here.
No.
But there are things that you can do. I'd say the easiest thing is just find your tribe, man. Find someone, a team that you can get off your island. Someone that's going through this, almost like a recovery group to some degree, or grieving group,
Yep.
right?
Support group.
We need people. We need support.
Yeah.
And people are out there. They're willing to help do that. And if you have the money, you can hire a coach. Coaches, and I'm not saying promoting myself, I'm just saying coaches in general are a great way to help you get over this hump. So
you brought up the Rocky movie, and you're gonna think we're taking off the topic here, but it's interesting. They're actually doing a movie that's coming out in the fall on the making of the Rocky movie. As much as that movie inspired so many people with the story of Rocky, they're actually, the movie behind it, or the making of the movie, was Sylvester Stallone trying to get that script taken care, written. He wanted to be an actor. They said, no, you're not an actor. We'll write your own script. He writes a script. They take it. I want to act in this movie. I don't know if you've seen the scene, the previews But I'm looking at that and I'm going, this is a great looking movie. This is perseverance. And I had no idea this backstory. It's amazing. It's more amazing than the movie itself.
Oh yeah. I've seen the trailer, but I've also watched the backstory. It's the documentary. It's great. I mean, it's Rocky's story. Honestly, it's incredible. Tremendous resiliency.
Yes.
Him and Arnold. Arnold's got a great documentary on Netflix as well. He went through extreme adversity, but he kept that mindset sharp. He kept believing and he manifested. That's not something we talked about.
Right.
But Arnold, I highly recommend checking out, even if you don't like Arnold. It's a three-part miniseries on his life and his journey. You know, nobody told him he could do what he's done, but he always kind of believed in himself and manifested where he's at. He could picture himself in a new job, at that new company, being happy, not having all these, these things, these worries and concerns for life. So two people. Yeah. But I love, Rocky all day long, man. That story is even better than the movie itself.
Well, yeah. You mentioned it. My eyes lit up because I saw the preview. I think I've watched it like a half a dozen times in the last couple of days just to kind of feel that emotion again. You get that. Your heart starts pumping when you see something.
It
like
does.
that.
Just play the song. I'm all in.
So,
right. Every time I watch that first one, I cry every time.
Yeah.
It's just so emotional. Yeah.
So I always like to end on a positive note, in which we've been very positive. This has been a great interview.
Yeah.
With everything job seekers are facing right now, what gives you hope? And what would you say to someone who's starting to wonder whether a real opportunity is ever going to come?
What gives me hope is that there is a very concerted effort right now, I believe, amongst the HR. I know the HR community in general. I just got back from a national SHRM conference last month in Orlando, 30,000 people. And there was a through line, and that's let's get back to human beings. Let's get back to taking care of our people. HR. Humans, right? Human resources. So I do believe that there's going to be a major focus on that. We've been so inundated with AI and this and that, and I think we've been pulled from really, what drives an organization, which is the people, and we need to take care of them, whether they're in the company or whether they're being interviewed or recruited on the other end. We're still dealing with human beings. So that gives me hope. That gives me hope that the numbers are out there. There's shows like yours that are shedding light on this, saying, hey, this is a real thing. And there's other people that are creating these support groups for those that are, struggling and going through this. So that gives me hope that there's people who do care and there's an effort, and we are actually going to start focusing on our people, which sounds so silly that we even need to say that.
Right.
But it happens in life, it happens. We get a shiny new object like AI or something else that comes along. There's always something, and we get thrown off our game. But when you take care of your people, it will pay dividends. So that's just anybody in general, people in general. So that gives me hope. There's good people out there, and that gives me hope because I'm meeting them every day. People that genuinely care and are trying to make this the best place they can possibly live in.
And what would you say to someone who's starting to wonder whether a real opportunity is ever going to come to them?
Faith, man. You got to have faith. And again, if you're lit up, if you find that thing, I'm telling you, that will change everything. That will change your whole mindset. That spark is really critical to your foundation of getting up in the morning. If you have that thing, you won't be inundated with that judge that's in your head all day telling you, when are you going to get that? Are you ever going to get that? Are you good enough? We need to squander him, squash him, put him aside. He's lying. You are great. You've done amazing things. Go back through your resume. Go back through all the things you've done in your career and remember who you've always been, who you are.
Well, Todd, thank you so much for joining us and talking about the spark that we all have and we all need to find again in our journey. And if anyone is out there watching or listening and thinking, hey, that sounds like something I've been through, you're not alone. If you'd like to share your story, send me an email or a DM and stay connected to the real stories, real insights, and real people behind today's hiring system. Make sure to follow and subscribe. We have new episodes, shorts, and conversations every week. I'm Mark Lane, and this is Ghosted by the Machine, because behind every application, there's a human. Let's make hiring human again. Todd, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. It's been great.